Hello everybody. In this video I will be teaching you how a bunch of certain gadgets work. Now we're only going to be using the gadgets in the other gadgets and CV2 gadgets section. Now, let's get started, shall we? Now first I'm going to go to my little my lick room, because that's my little lick room. Because the lick room, or this room called lick, is my exact room for making tutorials. For a minute there, I thought there was someone else with me, or my mic was displaying through the thing. Okay. Anyways, so first of all, you're going to want to open up your Maker Pen. Or to use these CV2 gadgets, you're going to want to open up your Maker Pen. One sec. And click Create if you haven't already. Then, you're going to want to click the Open Palette button, which will open up your palette. Then, you're going to want to click Gadgets. And then, in the gadgets, there's going to be a list of different filters. There's going to be math chips, game chips, other chips, gizmos, other gadgets, and CV2 gadgets. These two at the bottom are going to be the ones that I'm going to be talking about today. Now, these are only the ones that I know and that are basic. So, when I learn a little more about gadgets and things like that, and things like this, or things a little more pro, I'll make a pro version of this video, so that people know. So first, we're going to want to use first up, the ambience radio. Now, I just read the info, and you can already guess what it is. It plays background SFX. Just like in your dorm. Because in your dorm, you have this exact sound. One sec. Let me configure this so it's loud. One sec. Not right now, Kaylin. I'm recording a video, and everybody can hear you, okay? Not right now. Get out. Not right now. I'm recording a video. Everybody can hear you. No, not right now, okay? Sorry about that. That was my sister. She came into the room, if you didn't hear already. Alright, okay, that's strange. I guess there's no volume. Alright, so now I'm going to open up my Maker Pen, go back to Open Palette. Alright, so now we're going to try out the bounce pad. The bounce pad is what you guessed it was. A bounce pad. Now, when you click this, it might just seem like one little square, right? But you can use the scale feature to make it bigger. But there's also another way that you can make this bigger. Just like how you would with the square option, it might be a little different, but you can scale it while it's being created. So you can scale how long and how thick you want it to be. And then what it does is, you guessed it, it bounces you. Now you can even create things like parkour games with this little gadget. But you gotta make sure that there's at least something so players know where it is and that it's visible. Now, as you can see here, it's a bit too far. So, let's move it. But yeah, you can create things like little parkour pieces with these bounce pads. And honestly, I don't know how to do it. It just doesn't seem to be working out for me. I think it's too far. Yeah, it's too far. There. So now, these are basically like little bouncy barriers. Not exactly barriers, but invisible things. Okay, I can't see these, so I'm gonna use my Maker Pen so I can so they're visible to me. And you can climb up like that. Kind of, not really, but I'm just doing it anyway. Oh, you can't. But yeah, that's how the bounce pads work. Now, if you're just Now, if you're just testing out with these to experiment with them, and you're gonna use something else for your game, you should probably hit the delete tool. But if you're an experienced player, you don't need to listen to that. Next up is the checkpoint. Now, the checkpoint is a checkpoint. You guessed it. So you don't really need any info on this. So once KO'd, you spawn at the spawn point nearest to it, or you spawn at the last checkpoint that you've touched. Now, the emitter. The emitter is a very cool thing. Basically, if you summon a bunch of emitters at certain times, there will be a pattern between how the emitters fire. As you can see here, as I created them, they shot. So now look at this. There we've got little like party things. So if you're ever trying to make a party map, here's your best option. Here's your best option for confetti. Alright, next up we've got, let's see what we've got. Okay, next up we've got launches players that enter it in the direction of the arrows. Okay, the impulse volume. I thought this was some sort of volume editor until just now. So, since it's not, I want to show you how it works. Basically, depending on which way the arrows are pointed, if a player hits this, it'll bounce that direction. So if I were to go ahead and touch this, I would simply get bounced back a little bit. So if I were to configure this, and I could change the maximum speed of it, and I hit 20, now this would happen. Well, maybe if I move it down a little bit. So you can hit circle when you're using creator flying in your maker pen to fly downwards. Well, since it's not exactly bouncing me too much, I'm gonna smack this all the way up to 100. But the impulse volume is a bit of a handy tool, I'm guessing. That's what I'd like to call it. And basically it kind of acts like a bounce pad, to be honest. Except not all the times it works. So if you're looking for it to be like a bounce pad, probably pointed it in an upwards direction and make it a little bigger. And probably move it upwards if it's sticking into the ground like this exact one. This isn't exactly working. Alright, whatever. Alright, now we're gonna go back to my palette. Alright. The invisible collision. Now this prevents players from going into a certain area. Example, if I wanted players to not go towards this ambience radio, I could simply go ahead and make the invisible, okay. And simply use the invisible collision to stop any players from going to the ambience radio, so no one can pick it up. Let me try that again. Alright, and so players won't be able to pick it up. There. Alright, next up is let me, one sec. The object, no. The point light. I might have already talked about this, I don't know. So for this one, I am going to have to get any sort of dark space, I guess. Now this is the point light. It acts as the things on the roof. So basically, if you put these on your map's roof and you gave it a low, like, I don't know, intensity or something, whatever controls its light level, if you give it a bit of a low light level, then it will basically act as a tiny little light to make your little horror game a little creepy. Next up is the respawn point. Respawn point is exactly what it sounds like, a respawn point. So I'm just gonna skip this. Next up is the sampler. I think I've already talked about this. I'm saying that a lot. That's because I don't know what I haven't talked about and what I have talked about. So one sec. I'm gonna record something with the sampler. The sampler records things. Go. Hello. Hello world. Alright, so now if we go to props and we go to dynamic, this is where it gets a little fun. You can click you can make a button, use the wire feature and highlight the reds. Or make sure that you wire this red on the button to the red on the sampler. And then when you push the button, hello world, it will do that. Hello world. So that's how the sampler works. Alright, so next up we've got the full body costume dummy. Now the full body costume dummy is a really cool dummy. Now I'm not really gonna go shoving myself into the store, but I'm just gonna go get a random invention that I'm gonna find in my inventions. What about this boyfriend costume? Friday Night Bunk. No. Oh, I did use Monica from FNF for one of the rap battles that I did, but I'm not gonna use that. Anyways, so basically you can sketch up your very own costume using this. So for example, if I was going to use, let's say, actually if I was going to make, let's say, myself into a god, I could use the neon thing, and I could put like stuff around, I guess. And you can give yourself little like cool lasers. And then when you're done, yeah, it acts as a costume. Though you're probably gonna want to wrap yourself in some other stuff, so it's an actual costume, and you're not gonna be naked like I am. Not exactly naked though. So here's the things you can kind of create with it. You can create things. You can create things like this. Senpai from FNF. Now this is a full body costume dummy because it looks exactly like this. And also because I'm now Senpai from FNF. I call it FNF, but I'm not one of those people that think the actual name is FNF. So I'm gonna go to this. Alright, so this is a costume. This is a full body. These are two full body costume dummies that someone made themselves. One, this. Not about saying the name because you guys know. And two, this. They're literally the same things, but one of the eyes are like light. So now I'm gonna delete these. All of these. I don't care. I'm sorry. There. But those are the kinds of things that you can do with the full body costume dummy. Next up, we've got Point Light version 2. I've never used this before. Wait, never mind. It's literally just a point light, so never mind. Alright, the seat. Now the seat, it's exactly what it sounds like. Once again, there's something that's exactly what it sounds like. Yeah. Next up, we've got text version 2. So the text is literally a text. Now, now, if you're new to gadgets, you're going to have a bit of trouble using the text version 2. But the text version 2, you don't need to use wire. You don't need to like configure the wiring for it. That's what I did think though. Well, in the original text, there was like wires that you could use, but you didn't need to use that, or you didn't need to use them. But the text is a text, so basically you can insert text, and it basically just appear X's, I guess, which I didn't expect. And you can change the color and the material of it. Now that's how that works. And now we've got nothing else. Oh, I skipped a couple. Whoops. Alright, so next up we've got the sunlight. The sunlight is actually like really cool. For real now. If I were to delete the roof, which I'm going to do that for real, the sunlight, depending on which way it's pointing, will point in just one certain direction. So right now, if this was pointing downwards, currently it looked like the sun, or currently it'd make the sun right here. But if I were to point this that way, the sun would be over there. And if I were to point it this, like, in a random direction, this way, I don't know what the sun would be. It's gone. The sun's gone. Yeah, that's how the point light works. Alright, next up we've got the text is literally the same thing. Okay, the welcome mat. The welcome mat is basically acts as a place for players to spawn when they join the game. That's about it. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I hope this helped you guys in your troubles with making games. Bye.